This was such a fun story to do because the one thing that makes the constant scolding about climate change tolerable is running around and pointing out the hypocrisy and being smug about it. And so I really enjoyed that.
And you do it so well, my friend. But Sheila, I don't get it. As you pointed out in your piece, last year's climate catastrophe meet and greet was done remotely due to COVID-19. But wait a second. I thought with all this masking and social distancing and mandatory vaccine passports that are now in place, I thought COVID is still a clear and present danger. So how do these bigwigs justify this mass gathering in the first place?
They don't have to justify it. We're just the little people who foot the bill for it all. It's how you know that they don't believe any of these things are existential emergencies. They didn't know a lot about COVID last year, so they went online. Okay, great. Now you know it's doable online. At least, you know, when you're going to make these backroom decisions to control my life, you can at least practice what you preach. But they're not doing that this year because apparently COVID is not the existential crisis that they keep telling us it is, because it's only meant to control our lives, but they gave themselves exemptions for gathering for this conference. But they also don't think climate change is the existential crisis that they keep telling us it is, because every single year, thousands, tens of thousands of these people hop on planes, fly from all over the world, converge on a city, have a bunch of high carbon parties, decide how your municipality is going to run its recycling program and the building codes that mandate low flow toilets and low flow shower heads. All the things that really affect you on a day-to-day basis are decided at these things, and they fly in to do it. So they must not think that the climate is changing in a way that will see us all come to an untimely end in 12 years or 10 years or whatever some little teenage girl is yelling at us about now.
Well, it's gone from a little teenage girl to a CGI raptor. We talked about that ad the other day on the live stream. A dinosaur, a fake dinosaur played by Jack Black, lecturing humanity. Don't make the same mistake we did in taking that meteor for granted. But I digress. Sheila, when you speak about the unnecessary carbon getting there by jet, that's just the beginning. And folks, if you think Sheila is exaggerating, I can tell you both Sheila and I have been to these UN powwows before. Sheila in Germany, in Poland, myself a few years ago in Morocco. And it's so bad, isn't it, Sheila? We see 7-passenger SUVs for the diplomats in which one person often is the only occupant being chauffeured around. But in between the chauffeuring around, they are sitting there, fleets of SUVs with V8 engines idling with the AC or the heating cranked to max, lest the precious snowflake diplomat get uncomfortable. It is the worst misuse of carbon just to leave a vehicle like that idling, and they idle fleets of it. Sheila, the optics and the reality stink. You would think if these people cared one iota about the message they're doing, they would walk the walk as well as talk the talk, but clearly they don't do that.
No, because they don't care. This isn't about the climate. The climate is just their vehicle to control your life in much the same way as COVID is the vehicle to control your life, or has been for the last 20 months. It's about a wealth transfer from wealthier countries to poorer countries, from wealthier people, which actually includes middle class people, to other people. Transfer of wealth from the middle class, incidentally, to the government and to businesses. They really don't care about these things because they don't walk the walk. And they don't even realize, if you were a true believer in something, for example, I don't think it shocks anybody to know that I'm Catholic. And so I look at the world through a very specific lens, right? I see it with Catholic eyeballs. But these people don't look at the world through environmentalist eyeballs. They'll walk past the acres and acres, and I'm not exaggerating, of idling buses and limos and not see anything wrong with it. They have environmentalists standing outside the conferences handing out, their doomsday cult literature about what you have to do to stop the world from ending. And it's all handbills, pamphlets. They're handing out these pieces of paper that get tossed into the garbage 3 feet ahead of them, and it's just overflowing out of the garbage. And they don't recognize the waste. They don't hear the persistent hum of the diesel generators powering their conference in Bonn, Germany. They didn't seem to notice the coal miners museum right next door when I was in Poland. They don't see this stuff. And they don't see the hypocrisy because they don't actually believe in any of it. It's just the thing they need to control you and take your money away from you.
Hey folks, that was an excerpt from my show, Rebel Roundup. Now, to get the full meal deal, why not go to Rebel News Plus, sign up, and never miss a Rebel News Plus show in the future.